Here. Winter Coats, good to see you. James McDonald. Oh, good. Thanks. I appreciate that. I was just saying before you guys showed up, I'm trying to set it up in my office. My original computer, I had everything on, died on me. So I'm kind of just, and then I got another one and I had a problem with that. So now I'm down to my laptop, putting everything up here on my laptop. And it's just a mess. It is a mess. All right, let's see who we got here. Got the boss. Hello. Let's see. Jack Black. Good to see you. Michael Russick. Oh wow, we got a lot of people here. Yeah, good to see you guys. Henry Reed from Wisconsin. Oh, it's got to be cold up there. It's cold here, so I know it's cold up there. Yeah. Clayton Davey. Good to see you. Jose. Good to see you. Matt Jernigan. Or Jernigan. Okay. Cactus drone chronography. Okay, I'm bad with the names. You're going to have to forgive me for that. Like I said, I've been experimenting, just trying to get this up and not use my phone. So I've had definitely some success here, and I'm thrilled about that. I'm not going to be on a long time tonight because I got 5 legs. I got to fly tomorrow, and it is going to be a long day. A long day. Yeah. Well, let's see. Well, Michael, I've got somebody that's flying with us on a regular basis now. But, yeah, we're still going to end up needing help. It seems like almost everybody needs help. You know, it's just unbelievable what is happening right now. I never would have predicted this. Oh, hey, Jeremy, was that yesterday? Oh, okay. I think that was yesterday. I'm losing track of my days for a lot of this stuff. Let's see. Hey, Jim. Good to see you, Philip. And you know what? In fact, somebody said something yesterday, and right as I was flipping over to ground, and I should have said hello or something, but it was like, whoops, I'm committed now. Good to see you, Chase. The Boz 81, it looks and sounds good. Good. Great. I appreciate that. I'm using the older, I'm not going to pull it off right now, the older webcam camera that I had here, my wife's. I borrowed it from her, this old microphone. What's your best advice for getting from commercial to ATP? Men's these days. Wow, James. You know, that's really interesting that you ask about that because the ATP requirements now are really a lot more stringent than they used to be. And there's one requirement in there that I think is just kind of crazy. I can't remember. You have to get so many hours in a full motion sim, I think in an aircraft. I can't remember how many pounds it was, but it's substantial, like 50,000 or something like that. And I'm thinking, and full motion sims are incredibly expensive. They're very expensive. Right there, that's a roadblock for somebody that doesn't have the money. And you may go into aviation and never fly your whole career an airplane over, let's say it was 50,000. It was like 45 or 50,000 pounds easily. So why should you be paying for that? You know, it's just, I don't know. It's the way it is now. Get it for HP minutes. There are 2 ways. You got to build the time. You just got to get the time. Or 3. One of them is as a CFI. You know, building time as an instructor. That gets you time. You make some money. The other one is actually, for some people, it's a better route to take. I enjoyed instructing. I did it full time for 4 years. I enjoyed it. I liked teaching. But doing 135. You know, if you can get 135 in a turboprop, that is a good start, especially a busy 135 company. You can build a lot of time. Then there are other things like, you know, pipeline, power line patrol, things like that. Let's see what we got here. You know, either inbound to Spirit or outbound to Florida. It just seems like the last 2 months, everything I've been doing has been going to Florida or one of the southern states. I think everybody's trying to get out of here right now. And the thing about Florida now is they are so busy. Wow. I mean, it's like last year and this year, there were certain times when they just shut down the whole airspace because they were oversaturated, and you would get delayed on the ground. I mean, several times during the Christmas vacation, going down to Florida, we would get a ground hold for hours, and everybody was getting that kind of stuff. Let's see. Well, I know I'm missing all sorts of people here, and I do apologize. Let's see. Oh, come to Thailand. Recon 5. I bet that would be so cool. Citation 10. I've never been in a 10, but that has got to be one cool airplane. Still flying the Excel? Yes, I am. I like the Excel. Let's see. Jim, fly safe, and I will send you text for a question for me to do some additional flying. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Looking to cut back my Part 121 flying and doing some more corporate. Yeah, it's not just the corporate guys that are being hit hard. It's the airline guys also. I mean, those guys are flying a heck of a lot. They've got a lot of pressure on them right now. But we had Ted and I had lunch with a Southwest guy. I mentioned this on another, I think this on the other live stream, and he was talking about how they are really hurting for guys. They have really come down on their men's now. I didn't ask him about it. He may have been exaggerating, but he said, "Oh yeah, we're hiring 1,500-hour guys now." And like I said, I don't know if that's actually right. He may have been exaggerating, but he was definitely making the point that they are hurting now. They are hurting, and he was just worn out. I'm flying the Citation XL now. I flew as a co-pilot on a Sovereign about a month ago, and I also do some Caravan flying. In fact, November 1 Quebec, the Caravan we had, it got sold, and we've got now, it is a Grand Caravan coming. Right now, it's having a new interior put into it, and it's having single point done. I think it's supposed to be done in about 3 weeks is when that's coming back. So once that comes back, I want to make some Caravan videos. I enjoy flying the Caravan. It's a great airplane. I apologize. I keep having to lean over here and see exactly what's going on. Let's see. Oh, Rodrigo from Brazil. Good to have you here, Rodrigo. Let's see. Getting my certificates hopefully this year. Ted and I were talking about this just like, I think it was yesterday, the shortage of pilots, and one of the factors is how incredibly expensive it is now. It is just unbelievable. I don't know how people can afford, at least most people can afford to get their certificates. Yeah, because, if you're not in a 141 school, you're going to have a minimum of 250 hours to get your commercial. And then, what is it for the ATP now? It used to be 1,500. There's some exceptions, I think, that are built into there. It's a lot more complicated for the ATP requirements than it used to be. But like I said, that 250 hours is really expensive. You can reduce it if you're in a 141 school. And I think their minimum hours for the commercial, I think, is 190. Yeah, so that does help if you can do that. But not every flight school is a 141 school. And the reason they get the exemption there is they're very structured. Their curriculum and everything is set out. The FAA monitors it. Let's see, let me close this. Oops, I probably should not have pressed that because I lost my little... There we go, okay. That came up I think, from YouTube saying now's a good time to put an ad in there. Well, how do you put in ads if you're like reading stuff and doing this other stuff? I don't know. CFI double I route now just broke 750 hours, looking for some PC-12 operators here in New York area to build some time. That's another good way to build time. If you can get right seat work, build some time that way. And if you can volunteer to do it, but if you can get paid, heck, I would not even do it without getting paid. I'll just say it right up front. Yeah, if you're, and I think some people take advantage of that. and say, oh yeah, you can build this time, you can build this time, and so I'm not going to pay you. But you still have the risk of being there if something goes wrong. And you're a second set of ears, a second set of eyes. You are an asset. I don't care how much time you have sitting up front. You know, you could still be the guy that sees the traffic that's coming at you from below or the right in the pattern or something like that. You have to value your time and what you've earned. Oh, single point. Single point is on bigger aircraft, and what single point is it is instead of having a the Caravan will have fuel caps on the wing. It will still have that, but on the side and the fuselage, there will be another opening. It'll be larger, probably about like that, and the fuel truck comes up, hooks the hose to that, and then they pump the fuel into both tanks. With that, which is this is a new thing that they have an STC for, the single point. Without it, you have to get a big ladder, get up over the wing, and separately pump fuel into the top of each wing. The single point is much faster, and oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. We have single point in our airplane, and let's see, the Encore I was flying before this one, single point, the Sovereign. Like I said, I think all of the jets have single point. I can't think of a jet that doesn't. I mean, they still have caps on the wings for loading fuel through the top of the wing, but that's if there's a problem with the single point. I'm going to get this real fast. This might be about my trip tomorrow. And it is just an acknowledgement about some of the stuff we're doing tomorrow on the times. That's all. Let's see what else we got here. A high tailwind a few times a few years ago when they were flying so fast, 800 miles an hour. Yeah, I see. That's the thing about that 10. I think the 10 is a Mach .92 airplane. I have never flown one of those. The fastest I've flown .85 airplanes because I used to fly the Citation 3 and 6. That's the Citation 650. And the Gulfstream. I flew the Gulfstream 2 and 3. And the Falcon. And some others. But the Excel is not a .85 airplane. It's not a .92 airplane. It's a .75. But for what we do, it really doesn't matter. And it's still a good airplane. I love it. Yes, 141 can be more expensive. Yeah, it is more expensive. What did I solo in? I soloed in a Cessna 152. And I was flying out of Memphis International. The place was called Lazy 8. And we would take off and fly out to the West Memphis Airport. And that's where I soloed. And I will never forget my first solo. Because the guy I was flying with was a guy named Gordon. He was older, and he was ex-ATC. He was ATC in the military. And then he had also flown helicopters. And he ended up losing an eye. So they'd always be saying, what does that say? What does that say over there for the instruments and stuff? But so we were out there doing the pattern. And, he was really hitting on me. He says, pounding on me there. And I felt like I was screwing up. And so all of a sudden we land, and he says, pull over, I'm getting out. I thought, I've done it now. I have done it, yeah. And so he opens the door and steps out and turns around and says, okay, yeah, you go ahead and fly around the pattern and come back and get me. And I'm like, what? I thought I was messing up. He said, no, you're doing fine. You just go out there, come back and get me. And I did. And it was an incredible experience, to be out there in that airplane by yourself, flying around it for the first time. I think every pilot will always remember their first solo. Incredible experience. And when you do it, you'll feel the same way. One stop refuel. Let me just check these real fast, see what we got here. Oh, the Lear 31 didn't have single point. I did not realize that. It's a retrofit. Interesting. I am really surprised. I've never flown a Lear, never even been in one, so I can't really speak on them. That's I didn't know that. We controllers remember you for sure. Oh, thanks, Big D. Been waiting for the day you and Cream City are both in our airspace at the same time. Wow. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Flying the Latitude says the same thing and doesn't break any speed records, but she's a beauty to fly. Yeah, see, that's the point. I think most pilots, they really enjoy the airplane they are flying, and it'd be great to go a little faster, but it doesn't really make a difference. I mean, it does if you're an executive and your time's worth $5,000 an hour. Heck yeah. But for the pilot, you learn the airplane and you know how to fly it and you're very comfortable in it and you're going to some place where you're going to have lunch. We take off and say, oh, where are we going to lunch today? That kind of thing. Where are we staying? What are we going to do? Oh, it's a 4-day trip. We're sitting for 2 days. Let's go do this. Let's go for a hike. Yeah. Philip Nelson, do you do any prep before you recurrent? Expect differences with CAE. Actually, that's funny you say that because I actually did start getting ready for recurrent. I've got a recurrent in March, and I pulled out the flashcards and started through them. And I'm going to go through some other stuff. And part of what it is also is I feel like I waste a lot of time, and I'm trying to become more disciplined and study a little bit every day with a little something. Because that's important, because no matter how old you are, how young you are, how smart you are or not, you will not retain everything. And you need to review. Especially if you have flown lots of airplanes. I have no idea how many different citations I have flown, different types and stuff like that. Because even, with the citation 500 type, that's a whole lot. What is that? 10 airplanes from the first creation to the last one. The first one being the Citation 500, the last one being the Citation Encore Plus. And that was over a lot of years. That was the 500, the 1, the 2, Citation 2SP, the Bravo, the Ultra, the Encore Plus. And I'm probably leaving a couple out in there. I always felt like there's such difference from that first one, the 500, and the Encore, that they probably should have, like, in the center there, divided it and made it 2 different type ratings. But, I'm glad I've got it and I can do all of that. How many hours did I have when I first flew a jet? I probably had, when I first flew a jet, it would have been getting 3 takeoff and landings in a, let me think about it. That would have been the Falcon 800. I was a flight instructor, and I filled in for a short while for a company. Their guy was one of our instructors who worked for them also, and he was leaving, and they had to do some fill-in. And I did that, and for about a month, helped out in the right seat. And I probably at that point had 1,200 hours. Yeah, and then I didn't fly a jet again after that for quite a while. I was flying turboprops. And when I flew again, the next jet I flew, my first flight in it, I had gone to flight safety and got a single pilot type in the CJ, is what it was, the first CJ. And that was a great airplane. It's an easy airplane to fly. And I was surprised. They wanted me to go get a single pilot type. And I did, and flew it around. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm trying to think exactly how many hours I had at that point. I'm guessing I probably had 3,000, is my guess. I could be off a little bit on that. It doesn't really matter, does it? Hey, Johan, good to see you here. Let's see. You sold in a 150 in 1972. Doug. Oh, I did some instructing in a 150. My first lessons I did as a flight instructor. It was in a 150, and it was Conway, Arkansas. Yeah, and the place that I had gotten my CFI at, they didn't need any extra instructors, so I just went down to the next airport and pretty much just parked myself there and talked to people. And one guy had a 150, said, "Hey, yeah, I'd like to rent it out. Absolutely, if you want to instruct in it." I said, "Sure," and I had students and was doing a ground school, and uh, went over one day to visit where I had been instructing. And when they found out I had students, it was like, "Oh yeah, why don't you work here?" So then I did that, and that worked out. I was an instructor for 4 years, but they were a 135 company also, so I did all sorts of 135 and other things like King Air 90, King Air 200, Baron, Bonanza, Beach Duchess, different things. But the 150, I really enjoyed it. That was a fun airplane. There were two things about it that really stood out to me. One of them was they had the flaps, I think, went down 40 degrees. It went down further than the 152. And the one that I flew, it had a manual clutch for the starter. So when you started it, there was a hole in the instrument panel up at the top, and there was a little T-handle like on a lawnmower. And you would pull the handle out like that, and it was like you were starting a lawnmower, and that would engage the clutch. Start up, but when people got in there for the first time and they see you doing this, it's like, what the heck? What am I getting into? Let's see. I heard you on the Pilot to Pilot podcast and your unconventional career start. I decided to quit my job and go back and finish my ratings. Currently instructing, hoping for a 135 SIC gig soon. Well, hopefully you'll get it. Yeah, like I said, 135 is a good way to build experience. It really is. And a lot of times with 135 companies, they have multiple types of airplanes. So especially if you can get into a turboprop. I mean, if you can do Baron, great. That's Baron's a great airplane. I really enjoy flying it. But the turboprops, because they're turbines, that's good experience that people look for. Let's see. Who else we got here? Let's see. I'm a layperson, not a pilot. Just thoroughly enjoy your videos. Oh, well, thanks, John. I appreciate that. Closest airport is FY. What is FYG? I've been there. I can't think of what that is, though. Sold in 1989 and a 152. Are you a PIC only? No, I'm not. I am an SIC on the Challenger. Got a 6158 is what I have. And so I don't do a whole lot of work on the Challenger. Now, the guy I work for owns two Challengers, but those airplanes are gone on like 5-year leases type things. And really the only reason I ended up in the Challenger and doing videos in it is because one of his Challengers was supposed to go on a lease, and that fell apart. So, and it sat there. It was in our hangar, I think, 4 or 5 months. So then we had a contract captain, and he would come over and fly it, and he got me, the training that's required for the 6158, and then I became his SIC. And then what happened, and this is what happens a lot of times. So I think we flew 2 weeks off and on in that airplane, and then he started calling me to help out in their Challenger across the river, and I did quite a bit of work for them. Yeah, but that has really slowed down. I mean, right after the first of the year, I did do a trip for them recently, but they've hired another pilot full time, so that slows down. But that's Jeff. Actually, that's Jeff. A lot of you guys have seen him in the videos with the British accent, and I just talked to him yesterday. He flies the Caravan for us also, and he will do work in the Excel, and he's typed in the Excel. And he's actually, he just went to recurrent in the Caravan, went to flight safety for that. Let's see who I'm missing here. Let's see. Did you ever train Navy pilots? Only, oh no, I've trained a couple, and what were they doing? One of them was looking for a job. He ended up working at the same company that I worked for, and he got checked out in the King Air 200 is what he did. And then the other one was a guy that I gave some instruction to. It wasn't really instruction, it was like a checkout in a, I can't remember if it was a 172 or a 152. And he had never been in one. He was flying jets in a long time. He may not have, he may have never even been in a Cessna. But it was just, just around the pattern a few times with him, and he was going to rent it type thing. Let's see. Washington, Missouri. I've landed there. Been a long time. I was in a King Air 200. I think I'll be making a 135 Rockrunners. You know what, Jim? At 56 years old, that may be true, but I would say there are other opportunities that are going to be out there also. The airlines, at this point, I don't know what they're going to do, but their tendency to hire younger and keep them longer, I think that's going to expand now. I think it's going to go all the way up to 60, maybe even higher. I mean, because what's going to change? The airplanes aren't going away. They're going to keep making them. There's a more and more demand for these private aircraft, and at the very same time, there are fewer and fewer people going in and training. It is just so incredibly expensive. It's not like it used to be in the in the 70s and 80s and before that also, where every kid in high school wanted to either be a fireman or a pilot, and those that could scrape together the money actually went out and did it. You just don't see nearly as many people going out and doing it, which means that the top heavy industry with older pilots who are either retiring or passing away, you don't have the same number coming up to replace them. And it needs to be more than just replacement, because the fleet is expanding. And I think it's going to continue to expand for quite a while. Let's see what else we got. Oh, okay. Pilot Wisco. I hate to admit this. Oh boy. But I do not have a tailwheel endorsement. I have been in a tailwheel airplane with somebody else flying it. I've never flown one myself. I really kind of have my regrets not doing that. But it is what it is. I would have liked to have flown gliders also, and I never did that. It's just like all the flying stuff. It's expensive. Go tell your wife, hey, sweetie, I'm going to go spend $20,000, on this airplane or that airplane, or heck, I mean, how much? I mean, I think it's almost endless. You can spend as much as you want to. Oh, I saw that in the news. The medical flight that crashed. That was a PC. Was that a PC-12 in that accident? Yeah, heavy snow. Yeah, and where I used to fly out of, it really kind of freaked me out. I saw that King Air 200 that crashed as those storms were going through. And I was really very concerned, because there are some people there in Little Rock that I've flown with, and some of them recently that were also doing work on King Air 200s out of Little Rock. But when I saw the list of people who unfortunately had met their end on that airplane, I didn't know any of them. It's unfortunately, it's sad for them and their families. In fact, I wonder about that. I wonder if that was like wind shear or something like that, a microburst. Let's see. 4 years of college can easily cost that with room and board. Yeah, you're right. Give it a bit longer, they might as they might do that. There's been some talk about that. In fact, there was one point, I think the cadet programs are the programs where they were doing it in Europe for one thing. This was in the early 90s, where they would hire somebody, get them their ratings, and then in a kind of an apprentice type program, they call it something else, and then they would really move up to the point then where they can move into the cockpit of the airliner, doing that kind of thing because of the shortage of pilots. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to wrap this up because, like I said earlier, I'm flying tomorrow. I got to fly 5 legs, and I'm starting out early in the morning. I was really just kind of working with this, trying to make it work because, like I said at the very beginning, my desktop computer that I was doing everything in, it melted down, and I replaced it, and the computer I replaced it with had some problems, which I think they were user-induced. Yeah, I think it was me. But I still got to get another computer. I'm using my laptop I fly with is what I'm using right now. I can't get the thing and show you. And so it's laying flat right here, and I've got the big monitor for my other computer. But then I got all the stuff for making my videos and stuff from different drives and things like that. I've got to get all this organized and get a better camera, better microphone, better light, upgrade it. But, oh, I don't know if this was in any of my videos. I'm in my office. My office used to be in the basement, and after being in the basement for 20 years, the last kid finally left, and I moved into a room, made it my office now. It's my home office is where it is. So in the future, unless I'm on the road doing a live stream, I think I'm going to be doing them out of my office here. And I'd like to do it on a semi-regular basis, like every other week or something like that. And, excuse me, I'm working on a vlog. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of this week. I've done quite a bit of work on it already. But a lot of it's dependent upon the work also, because we've been really busy here. Let's see. Look at this real fast. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, Pilot Wisco. That's very kind of you. Yeah. Let's see. Are you allowed to speak on the company you fly for? I live in Springfield and want to fly out of Spirit for work someday, wondering about jobs at Spirit. This is what, Hayden Wiggins? Hey, Hayden, your best bet, excuse me, would be one of the 135 companies there at Spirit, like Aero Charter or American Air Charter. I think I'm skipping, not even thinking about it. I know there are like a couple of others because they tend to stay busy and they need people. It's a good time or a good way to build the time. And that way you would probably also be able to meet people that are working for the corporate operators at the airport. We're kind of offset, and so I'm not, and I've used people from those companies, but I'm not actively involved with them or anything like that. So I couldn't tell you exactly, what their status is, what they're looking for, how many hours and stuff like that. But I would definitely go start knocking on doors. Absolutely. Yeah, this is the time to do it. All right, folks. Well, I appreciate everyone. I've enjoyed it. Now I got to kind of figure out how to shut all this down. Like I said, got an itchy nose here. I got to work in the morning. So adios. Like I always say, keep the blue side up, the brown side down, and fly safe out there. Appreciate it, guys. Let's see if I can find the button. I think I did it.